This episode is adapted from a clinician-written article on Mentalyc and brought to life in audio for therapists who prefer listening on the go.
I love that. Perfect for my drive between offices.
Yeah, exactly. And this piece was written by Sylvie Saxena, MBA LSW, and we're just really excited to feature their perspective here.
Wonderful. A great voice to have in the space.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for some quick context, since the article comes from Mentalyc, it helps to know it's a platform designed to make clinical documentation more manageable for therapists.
Which, let's be honest, is a topic all on its own. But today, we're tackling something a little heavier.
Oh, yeah. The topic that makes every therapist's stomach do a tiny little flip. You know that feeling? That moment, maybe hours after a really difficult session where you're replaying it in your head and you think, did I handle that right?
Yes. Or when a client sends that email, the one that starts with, I'm feeling really disappointed with our work, and your heart just sinks into your shoes. It's that immediate, visceral sense of risk.
That's the word, risk. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, malpractice insurance. I know. Not the sexiest topic. It's not process groups or attachment theory.
Not even close. It's the broccoli of running a private practice. You know what's good for you, you know you need it, but nobody is excited to talk about it.
So true. But it's the foundation that lets us do all the other work, right? It's the safety net. Without it, we're practicing on a high wire with no protection. And honestly, I think we forget just how nuanced and delicate the therapeutic relationship is.
Oh, completely. We are dealing with the most intimate parts of a person's life. Their pain, their history, their perception of reality. And we can be the most ethical, well-trained, competent clinician in the world, and a misunderstanding can still happen. A rupture can still feel, to the client, like a deep injury.
Exactly. And that's where the trouble can start. It's not always about gross negligence. Sometimes it's about perception. Therapy takes time. Trust doesn't happen in a day. And we can't control how a client perceives the work we're doing or if they feel it isn't moving fast enough.
And that's the scary part. It's not just about making a huge mistake, like breaking confidentiality, which is obviously a massive deal. It can be something far grayer. A client feeling you weren't attuned to them, or that you missed a crucial piece of their story. In their reality, that can feel like harm.
And that's really the core of why malpractice insurance is so critical. It's not liability insurance, which covers, someone tripping on the rug in your office.
Right, the classic slip and fall. This is different.
This is about the care itself, the professional service. And in our field, the damage is so incredibly nuanced. It's emotional, it's psychological. And if a client decides to pursue legal action, you're suddenly facing not just the potential for damages, but astronomical legal fees. Attorney costs, court fees, that can ruin a practice and a life before a verdict is even reached.
It's terrifying to even think about. It's your reputation, your license, your livelihood, everything you've worked for. Is why having that piece of paper, that policy, is just non-negotiable.
It really is. And there are different kinds, which I think a lot of clinicians, especially early career folks, don't always understand. I know I didn't when I first started. I just thought, give me the insurance.
Same. Check the box. Let's go. But the difference between, say, an occurrence policy and a claims-made policy is actually huge.
It's massive. Can you break that down a bit? I feel like you have a really good way of explaining it.
Okay, I'll try. So, occurrence is kind of the simpler one to understand. It covers any incident that occurred during the policy period, no matter when the claim is actually filed. So, if you had an occurrence policy from 2020 to 2022, and a client from that time sues you in 2025, you're covered. It's tied to the date the event happened.
Right. That seems ideal.
It feels really comprehensive. Clean.
It is. It's often more expensive for that reason. Now, claims made is the other big one. This type of policy only covers claims that are made while the policy's active. So let's say you have a claims-made policy, you retire, and you cancel it. If a client from your practicing years sues you after you've canceled the policy, you have zero coverage.
Oh, wow. So even if the incident happened when you were paying for coverage, if the claim itself is filed when you're no longer paying, you're on your own.
Exactly, and that's where this thing called tail coverage comes in. It's an add-on you have to buy when you cancel a claims-made policy, and it extends the reporting period for years into the future. It's absolutely essential if you ever retire, switch providers, or close your practice with that kind of policy.
That is such a critical detail. I can so easily see someone thinking, well, I'm not practicing anymore, I don't need insurance, and making a catastrophic mistake. You have to protect yourself from the past, not just the present.
You really do. And when you're looking at these policies, it's not just about the type. It's about what's in them. Like, does it cover legal defense costs? Because let me tell you, those are the things that bankrupt people.
Right. The policy might say it covers up to $1 million in damages, but if the legal fees to get to that point aren't covered, you could be out hundreds of thousands of dollars just defending yourself, even if you win.
Precisely. And what about things like breaches in confidentiality? We all use technology, EHRs, email, maybe even client portals. What happens if there's a data breach, a hack? Is your policy going to support you through a HIPAA violation claim?
That's a modern problem that I don't think was on the radar as much 10, 15 years ago. Our digital footprint as clinicians is so much bigger now, which means our surface area for risk is bigger too. It's a huge thing to consider.
And some policies have these really interesting little add-ons, like coverage for Good Samaritan acts. So if you're a therapist and you step in to help de-escalate a crisis you witness in public, outside your normal scope of practice, you're protected.
Oh, that's fascinating. I never even thought about that. Or pro bono work, ensuring that the free services you offer are still covered. You're still acting in a professional capacity, so the risk is still there.
Yep. And then there are the coverage limits, the per incident and the aggregate limits. You want to make sure those numbers are high enough to give you real peace of mind. You don't want to be underinsured.
It feels like so much to hold, so many details.
It is. But it's one of those things where an hour of focused research can save you a decade of pain. You know?
Yeah. And it directly impacts your wallet, too. The cost isn't uniform. I remember when I added a trauma certification to my credentials, my premium went up. Not by a ton, but it was noticeable.
Oh, for sure. High-risk specializations like trauma or substance abuse or working with certain populations, insurers see that as a higher statistical risk, so the premiums reflect that. And going into private practice is a big jump. When I worked for an agency, I was covered under their group policy. The day I went out on my own, the cost was an adjustment.
An adjustment. That's a gentle way of putting it. I had the same experience. Suddenly, you're the sole proprietor, and that line item on the budget is all yours. But it's also so location dependent. The legal climate in California is totally different from the one in, say, Nebraska. State regulations matter.
Totally. And of course, if you have a history of claims, just like with car insurance, your rates are going to go up. On average, what do they say? Somewhere between $500 and $1,500 a year for an individual policy?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Which, when you think about it, when you frame it as the cost of protecting your entire career, it's really not that much.
It's nothing. It's less than one client's fee for a month for most people. It's an investment in your own sustainability.
Quick pause here. If this part of the work, the anxiety around risk and protecting your practice, feels familiar, Mentalyc can help. Its AI note taker supports your documentation and clinical judgment by helping you create clear, consistent notes, all while staying fully HIPAA and SOC2 compliant. You can explore it at Mentalyc.com. It's about adding another layer of professional integrity to your work.
And that integrity piece is huge.
Which actually brings up another point, choosing the right provider. It's not just about the policy, it's about the company behind it. You want a provider with a rock-solid reputation, who's financially stable. You need to know they'll actually be there if you need them.
Oh, 100%. This isn't the place to go with some fly-by-night internet insurer because they're $50 cheaper. You need to know their claims process is supportive and simple. The last thing you want when you're in a crisis is to be fighting with your insurance company.
Can you imagine? That's why talking to colleagues is so important. Asking people in your professional associations, who do you use? What's your experience been like? That word-of-mouth referral from a trusted peer is worth its weight in gold.
It really is. You're looking for a partner in your practice's safety, not just a vendor, someone who gets what we do. The process of getting it is pretty straightforward, but you have to be diligent. Research, compare quotes, really read the policy.
Read the exclusions. That's my biggest piece of advice. What does the policy not cover? Are there specific modalities you practice that are excluded? If you're doing ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, for example, you need to be damn sure your policy covers it specifically.
Such a good point. Or even just offering online therapy across state lines with all the new compacts and regulations. Does your policy cover you in every state where you're licensed to practice? You can't make assumptions.
You really can't. And I know some people, especially part-time therapists, might think, do I really need it? Or people working in an agency might think, oh, my employer has me covered.
And that can be a huge pitfall. Employer-provided insurance might not cover you if you have a small side practice, or it might not cover you for work you do outside of your specified job hours. And if you leave that job, your coverage ends that day. You have to have your own, period.
It's the only way to be truly safe. And for part-timers, many insurers offer reduced rates for working fewer hours, so the cost barrier might be lower than you'd think. The risk of practicing without it is, it's unthinkable. You're personally responsible for everything. Legal costs, damages, they could come after your house, your savings.
It's a terrifying thought. It's professional and financial ruin. It's just not a gamble worth taking, ever.
Never. So, okay, we have the insurance, we're protected, but that's a reactive measure. Let's talk about the proactive stuff. How do we reduce the chances of even getting to that point?
Yes, this is the empowering part. This is where we take back control. And the number one thing, the thing that will save you more than anything else, is documentation.
Amen. It's the thing we all complain about, but my God, is it important. Clear, objective, timely, and thorough notes are your absolute best defense.
They are your memory. They are the record of your clinical decision-making. If a claim is filed 2 years after you last saw a client, you are not going to remember the specifics of that session in April of 2022, but your notes will.
And they can be subpoenaed. They become legal documents. And this is actually where I found tools like Mentalyc to be so centering. It's not just about saving time. For me, using the AI note taker helps me create a really comprehensive and, importantly, objective record of the session. It strips out my immediate emotional reactions and focuses on the clinical data, themes, interventions, client presentation.
That's a really powerful point. It helps you stick to the facts of the session. It's a way of holding yourself to a higher standard of documentation, which in turn is a protective measure. It forces a kind of clinical rigor.
It really does. It helps me make sure my notes align with my treatment plan and that I'm tracking progress in a measurable way. It's not just a CYA thing, cover your ass. It actually makes me a better, more organized clinician. The protection is a side effect of better clinical practice.
I love that framing. And beyond notes, it's about clear communication with clients from day one. Your informed consent isn't just a form they sign and forget. It's a living conversation about the risks, benefits, and expectations of therapy.
Yes, setting those boundaries and expectations clearly up front can prevent so many misunderstandings down the road. And of course, sticking to our ethical guidelines. Staying up to date on best practices, going to trainings, getting our CEs, especially the ethics ones.
Especially the ethics ones that we sometimes dread but are so important. And the final piece, which I think is the most underrated aspect of risk management, supervision.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It should not stop when you get your license. We all need it. Consulting with colleagues, having a peer supervision group, getting another set of eyes on a tough case is invaluable.
It's how we check our biases. It's how we make sure we're not getting lost in our own countertransference. It protects the client, and in doing so, it protects us. It shows a commitment to ethical practice.
Exactly. It all comes back to that. Malpractice insurance is the safety net, but good, ethical, well-documented clinical practice is what keeps you from falling in the first place.
So when we wrap this all up, it's not about practicing from a place of fear. It's the opposite. It's about putting the right structures in place so that you can practice with confidence, so you can be present with your clients without that nagging anxiety in the back of your mind.
It gives you the freedom to do the deep, messy, beautiful work we're called to do. It's a foundational piece of self-care, really. Caring for your professional self.
I love that. So if there's one practical takeaway from all of this, what would it be for you?
I'd say don't just set it and forget it. Once a year, when your policy is up for renewal, take 30 minutes. Reread it. Have your services changed? Have you added a new specialty? Do you need to adjust your coverage? Make it an annual professional checkup. It's a simple act of diligence that pays dividends in peace of mind.
That's so practical and so achievable. It's not this huge, scary task. It's just a small, reoccurring moment of responsibility. Your future self will thank you for it.
Absolutely. It's an act of kindness to your future self.
I love that. And if you want support tightening up that documentation piece we talked about, the AI note taker from Mentalyc can really help you build that consistent professional record of your great work.